Today, we will be exploring the Amazon rainforest in this video. The Amazon rainforest is without a doubt the largest tropical rainforest that is still in existence today. Additionally, it is the most biodiverse. 1 in 10 of all known species can be found in this area, including a significant number of species that are in danger of extinction and cannot be found anywhere else. It is enormous, it is stunning, and it is of the utmost significance. Not the least of which is the fact that it stores enormous quantities of carbon. It impacts the behavior of rainfall patterns across South America, and it has a far more widespread impact on climate policy. Hit the subscribe button if you're new here and like this video to get the newest updates. Alright, let's dive deep into it. Over the course of the past 4 decades, around 15% of the tropical rainforest has been cut down or burned in order to make room for cattle ranches and other activities. Scientists are now concerned that it is on the approach of developing irreparable damage. At our own risk, we will lose it. A total of 9 countries, including Brazil, Peru, and Colombia, are included in the Amazon rainforest, which covers an area of 5.5 million square kilometers. A portion of this land that is protected is less than half. It is traversed by the Amazon River, which flows for a distance higher than 6,500 kilometers. In addition to being the second longest river in the world, behind the Nile, it is also responsible for around 15% of the total river discharge into the oceans on the planet today. Over the course of at least 10,000 years, people have been residing in the Amazon. The growth of indigenous species, such as the Brazil nut, Maripa palm, and cocoa tree, by early immigrants had a significant impact on the composition of the rainforest during the course of evolution. Some of these species can be found in abundance in the southern region. For instance, there were around 6.8 million indigenous people living in South America at the time that the first Europeans arrived in the region in the late 15th century. Millions of Amazonians perished as a result of deadly diseases that were carried by the colonists. These infections included malaria and influenza. There were thousands more people who were either enslaved or relocated. Approximately 30 million people are currently residing in the Amazon region, of which 2.5 million are indigenous people, representing more than 350 distinct ethnic groups. The majority of them reside in indigenous reserves that are referred to as resguardos, and their ways of life are characteristically a combination of Western and traditional characteristics. There are approximately 60 tribes that choose to live in seclusion and adhere, for the most part, to the practices that have been tried and tested by their predecessors. There are at least 10% of the world's known species of biodiversity that can be found in the Amazon. More than 1,000 distinct species of birds can be found in the world, ranging from hummingbirds to hoatzins. There are over 500 distinct species of reptiles, such as the black caiman and the green anaconda, and over 400 different species of amphibians, such as the gigantic cane toad and the poison dart frog, which is notoriously venomous. More than 300 different kinds of mammals, such as sloths, ocelots, and huge otters, call this area their home throughout the winter months. In addition to that, it is one of the few remaining safe havens for jaguars and pink river dolphins. Approximately 3,000 different kinds of freshwater fish can be found in the Amazon River, making it the river system with the highest number of species. This location is home to 1 out of every 5 species of fish. It is believed that there are 2.5 million different species of insects. In addition, there are more species of ants that can be found on a single tree than there are in several European countries. What about the plant life? Let's not overlook it either. The rainforest is home to over 80,000 different plant species, with 390 billion trees belonging to approximately 16,000 different species. What is the age of the Amazon? None of us can say for certain. There are others who believe that the Amazon rainforest started to develop during the Eocene period, which occurred approximately 55 million years ago. This occurred after temperatures dropped and the Atlantic Ocean broadened to the point where it provided the region with a climate that was warm and dense, following the collision of the Nazca and South American tectonic plates, which resulted in the formation of the Andes and the formation of a large freshwater lake that spanned the Amazon basin. Some scholars believe that it occurred somewhat later, approximately 15 million years ago. It wasn't until after a number of ice ages had passed that water began to flow from the Andes into the ocean. It was then that the Amazon River was born. The Amazon basin was flooded with sediments from the mountains, which resulted in the formation of the soils that were necessary for the growth of the rainforest. Others believe that it is even more recent than that. A natural shift to a wetter environment approximately 2,000 years ago spurred the growth of more trees. Exploring Amazon rainforest in this video to one study, which implies that up to a fifth of the Amazon basin could have been grassland at one point in prehistoric times. They serve as a source of critical resources for the indigenous people who continue to reside in this area, in addition to being a reservoir of potential solutions to problems that are on a global scale. Massive flying rivers in the sky are formed when water vapor is released from the forest, and these rivers have an effect on weather systems, both nearby and further away. Up to 50% of the rain that falls in the Amazon region originates from the forest itself. However, the Amazon forest also brings rain all the way down to Argentina, where it helps to sustain agricultural production. On the other hand, the ability of the rainforest to store carbon is the most important aspect to consider. The Amazon rainforest is sometimes referred to as the lungs of the earth, due to the fact that it breathes in carbon dioxide and exhales oxygen on a gigantic scale. The Amazon's trees and soils are responsible for the sequestration of around 123 billion tons of carbon. To make room for cattle ranches, plantations of soy, and other crops, the rainforest is being cut down and cleared of its natural vegetation. Alterations in climate, mining, the production of timber, and the construction of roads, housing, and other forms of infrastructure are also factors that are contributing to its gradual extinction. Over 18% of the Amazon rainforest has been destroyed up to this point, and an additional 17% has been damaged further. A great number of species, including the golden lion tamarin and the South American tapir, are being driven to extinction as their habitats are being destroyed out of existence. In the process of cutting down and burning trees, carbon dioxide absorbing trees are eliminated, and the carbon that they have stored is released back into the atmosphere. According to the findings of a study that was conducted in 2021, the rainforest is currently releasing approximately 1 billion tons of carbon dioxide per year, which is more than it is able to take in. The transformation of a crucial carbon sink into a carbon emitter is taking place. It is currently feared by experts that the Amazon rainforest is on the verge of reaching a tipping point, beyond which it would be unable to generate its own rainfall and support its ecosystems. This is because the loss of the Amazon rainforest is contributing to climate change. The rainforest could be transformed into a dry savanna that is prone to fire in certain areas. As a result of the lack of trees on this property, the capacity of the land to store carbon would be further diminished, which would have adverse effects on the climate change situation. Because it is difficult to go through the dense and unspoiled rainforest, there are still areas of the Amazon rainforest that have not been explored. Researchers are able to examine these difficult-to-reach locations with the assistance of technology, thanks to the fact that no one knows exactly how much remains uncharted. In order to create a map of the Amazon region in Bolivia, researchers used a laser to fly a remote sensing device over a portion of the region. The photographs, which were made public a year ago, disclosed the existence of two ancient communities, each of which was characterized by the presence of conical pyramids, mud houses, and artificial terraces. These settlements were encircled by a network of raised causeways, as shown in the image below. It is likely that people lived on the sections surrounding the terraces and utilized the causeways as a means of transportation. In addition to that, there were canals and reservoirs. The area challenges the myth that the Amazon was a virgin environment unaltered by natives before Europeans arrived. Can the Amazon rainforest be revived? The ideal option is to avoid cutting it down. However, tropical rainforests can recover with time. A 3-continent rainforest study found that it takes 10 years for soil to recover, 60 years for plant and animal biodiversity, and 120 years for biomass. This is largely due to secondary succession, when nearby forest and flora help fresh vegetation grow. In 20 years, certain tropical forests can become old growth, or 3/4 their original size. This works better than planting fresh trees. The same study found that spontaneous regeneration outperforms restoration planting in biodiversity, nutrient recovery, and climate change mitigation. However, this only works if there is enough local flora and fauna to seed the transformation. About 60% of the world's rainforests are in Brazil. It is promising that Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, the newly elected president of Brazil, pledged to eliminate Amazon deforestation and degradation by 2030 during the COP27 Climate Summit in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt. This is it for today. See you next time.